July the 24th, 2016. Greenpeace has a report out that there's hundreds of times of more radiation in front of the nuclear power plants than there was before the accident in Japan. Now, a gram of man-made radiation is about 3,200 billion times more radiation than what's around naturally. So it's 88 times 37 billion. That's how much is in a gram. 88 curries, each curry is 37 billion. Just because this building survived doesn't mean other miracles like the nuclear power plants were possible. This building didn't need power immediately. This building, they didn't send in helicopters, they didn't send in the military, they didn't. The tsunami came straight in and hit the nuclear power plant at 400 kilometers of the coastline. There was common spent fuel pools were on the ground, and they were sucked back out with that tidal wave, and that was millions and millions of pounds. When a gram is 3,200 billion times more per gram than what's out there naturally. And naturally got nothing to do with man-made. We don't have nuclear waste sites for natural. We don't have nuclear waste sites for bananas and potato chips, do we? So I'm filling up the fuel pool. Anyway, this is the reactor buildings. Yeah, that's before they blew up, okay, alright? So now we're going to take you on a little walk where the buildings don't look like this because they blew up. This is Unit 1. It blew up, it caught fire, it melted down. The inventory is all gone, allegedly down into the earth. It's in a chain reaction. It's releasing the iodine with the 8-day half-life in the uranium plutonium, which is what the reactors run on constantly till the end of time. Nobody can get in here. The robots die, for goodness sakes. This is Unit 2. Unit 2 is 100% gone. It's a meltdown, a melt-through, a melt-out. It's 3 times the size of Chernobyl. There was 5 reactors on the roof and the fuel pools. 10 years worth of fuel. Remember, they shot the neurons through the building. I'm up here at the fuel pool. Reactor, fuel. Filling up the fuel pool. That's the reactor. What part about that is you can't wrap your mind around. They shot the neuron device through, there's nothing there. That means it's releasing radioactivity on an unimaginable scale. Remember where all the fuel pools were too? Remember where the reactor was in the center of the building with that yellow cap in the center of the building on the top of it? Well, this is number 3 reactor. This is the mixed oxide fuel where they use reclaimed uranium, reclaimed plutonium. That was 2 million times worse than any other reactor on the planet. You'll never get in here. The only person to ever get in here is me. That's it. And it's releasing that radioactive material till the end of time. That's why we have terrorist laws, we have nuclear waste sites. It's because of this kind of stuff. And just a tiny amount. But we're talking, there was 5 reactor cores on the roof. 10 years worth. Cooling down those reactor fuel pools. This is a real serious event. And for Greenpeace to come out and tell you that the radiation out right alongside of it is only a couple of hundred times worse than what it was before the accident is a betrayal. That's a betrayal. Every sense of that word. And if number 3 wasn't scary enough, look at number 4. Remember what the buildings looked like? Hang on. I'm stood on the reactor core on the vessel on the top of it. It's a big yellow cap that goes here and it bolts down in the very center at the top of the building. Fuel pools on both sides of the building. But this is just a cutout of the front of the building. There's more fuel pools in this building. It has 5 other reactor cores stored here. I found the reactor core cap. Here it is. It's not in the center of the building. It's not at the top of the Unit 4 reactor anymore. And all the, and don't forget where this big yellow bell is two in the building. It's at the top of the building, in the center of the building, on top of the reactor. Okay? Hang on. Wait for it. And all the guts are all over the place down on the ground. The reactor is gone, and all the 5 reactor cores that were in the fuel pool are gone. They're gone. This is reactor 4. This is the one they told you they got the fuel rods out of the pool. Greenpeace is not holding anybody accountable. Greenpeace is supposed to be doing this, not me. I got 0 budget. Greenpeace got hundreds of millions of dollars in equipment and everything else. How is it that someone like me can work this out but they can't? Why are they telling you that it's only a couple of hundred times worse than natural when a gram would make it 3,200 billion times worse than natural? 88 times 37 billion times worse per gram. This building, 5 reactor cores and the reactor in the vessel is missing. Same as unit 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is I'm at right now. And then there was fuel pools on the ground. They're missing. The tsunami swept all that out there into the ocean. How could those numbers come down? This is the official pictures of Unit 4.
And Fukushima Daiichi stage, right after the accident, it was of course the emergency condition. But right now, gradually became the decommissioning stage, or more stable decommissioning stage. And that's that, as I mentioned, the successful completion of the dismantle of the spent fuel from the Unit 4. It's about 1533 bundle from the Unit 4, and we carefully manipulate the machine and successfully removed those fuel to the ground located pool. And the same.
I don't see Greenpeace calling TEPCO out for lying about Unit 4. Do you remember what Unit 4 looked like? I just showed you the pictures of it. Hang on. The red is where people died in 400 kilometers of the coastline. The yellow, there's 15 other reactors right along the same spot as all those people died. The yellow are the people that are missing. Do you understand why they died? They died because this wood chipper came through their community, through their country. That's what happened in 400 kilometers of the coastline. There's no way to plug wires in and get power back to anything here because everything is chewed apart permanently. And it's all covered with radioactive fallout on top of that. Greenpeace tells us that it's only a couple of hundred times worse in the ocean than it was before. They picked up 30 million bags. 30 million 1-ton bags, bumper to bumper. That's 5 lanes of traffic right around this planet. They're burning it in the incinerators throughout the whole country, the radiation. They're burning it like dirty bombs all day long. Greenpeace is not doing what they said they were going to do anymore. Greenpeace is not even trying to do what they said they were going to do. Greenpeace has no intention of making a dent in this issue. Greenpeace has no intention of telling you the truth or what I done or what is really happening. They're hiding it by doing what they done to you. It's shocking. This is 5 lanes of traffic. This is a tiny percent of a percent of a percent of what's actually there. 5 lanes of traffic around this planet from 4 buildings. Not just the Fukushima Daiichi, but 15 reactors were in that wood chipper. The common spent fuel pools were on the ground where that wood chipper came through. That went dragged right back out into the ocean. The nuclear waste sites in that 400 kilometer zone were many. That stuff was washed out into the ocean. So for Greenpeace to come out and tell you after detonations, losing the common spent fuel pools on the ground, 4 melted reactors, a contaminated country that leaches into the ocean constantly from the rivers and the estuaries, and every time it rains and snows is washing radioactivity out into that ocean, is trying to cover up Fukushima. They're trying to cover it up because they didn't show you any of this, did they? They're trying to cover it up because we know they're covering it up because I had to go out on the ocean in that operation. I had to build that, go out, and survey the tidal pools, the most vulnerable part of the ocean, because Greenpeace or nobody else would look at it. Greenpeace has the budget. They didn't have to struggle like I did. They could have went out and done it and been back and shown us the results. Instead, I went out on the ocean and I covered 260 days, 15,000 miles of the coastline. Each of those arrows, the pictures are up on my website, thenuclearproctologist.org. How come Greenpeace didn't do that? How come they didn't go out and check? How come they didn't go out and dispute me? How come they didn't go out and debunk my hundreds of thousands of pictures of an extinction event on the Canadian coastline, that this coastline is kept warm by the warm currents directly from Japan? The jet streams get here in 3 or 4 days. We know there was massive radiation throughout the country. That was confirmed by major institutions. It never goes away. So why didn't Greenpeace go do this work? Why are they taking all that money from you? Why I have nothing? Greenpeace didn't help me. Greenpeace didn't pat me on the back. Greenpeace didn't send me equipment to make it easier or say they're going to go do it because I'm an old guy and crippled and I shouldn't have to do stuff like that, and that they have an enormous amount of fundings. No. 5 years after the accident, still not done. We've done it. It's done. It's all up at the nuclear proctologist. It's an extinction event. But here's Greenpeace and the mainstream media all over the place, all over the world, saying, oh, it's just a couple of 100 times worse. Well, you're wrong. And I disrespect you for doing that to this entire planet. There's 8 million other species on this planet that you're supposed to have their back. Someone has to call you out. I'm doing it. And it's not right. I have nothing. You have everything.